Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something called micro joys. These are those tiny everyday moments that, believe it or not, hold a surprisingly powerful key to our well-being, especially when life just starts to feel like it's all a bit too much.
Does this sound familiar? That constant pressure, that feeling that you're just trying to get through the day, just trying to survive, it can be completely and utterly overwhelming.
And this quote from Allegra Cohen, wow. It just perfectly captures that rock-bottom feeling of burnout, doesn't it? That moment where you feel totally, completely disconnected from any sense of happiness or lightness in your own life.
Well, there's actually a name for this state. It's called joy deficiency. It's that point where your entire focus just shifts to survival mode, and it pushes any possibility of a positive feeling right off the table, because you just don't have the capacity for it anymore.
So if any of this is resonating with you, if you've ever felt just stuck in that survival mode, I want you to know you are so not alone. It's actually a really common experience in the world we're all living in today.
Really think about it for a second. When we talk about our health and well-being, right, we're all about symptoms, treatments, big picture goals. But how often does anyone stop and ask that simple question? When was the last time you really truly laughed? We often forget to check in on that most basic indicator of how we're actually doing.
Okay, but what if there was a really simple, super accessible way to start fighting back against that joy deficiency? Well, that's exactly where this powerful idea of micro joys comes into play.
You know, we tend to hang all our hopes for happiness on these massive life events, getting the promotion, the dream vacation, the graduation, and yeah, they give you this incredible rush of joy, but that feeling fades, right? Micro joys, on the other hand, are these little, frequent boosts, like that first sip of morning coffee or hearing your favorite song, that actually build up and sustain you over the long haul.
And you know what? There's actually a scientific reason why those big spikes of joy don't last. It's a psychological principle called hedonic adaptation. Basically, our brains are wired to return to a kind of baseline level of happiness. It's why the initial thrill of a new job or a new car eventually wears off.
And this is where this metaphor of compound interest comes in, and it's honestly the perfect way to think about it. Instead of waiting for these huge one-time payouts, we can make tiny daily deposits into our positivity reserve. And just like money, these small moments of joy, they compound over time, building real, lasting mental and emotional wealth.
Now, this isn't just some feel-good, fluffy idea. It's actually a practice that's backed by some really fascinating brain science.
Okay, so from an evolutionary standpoint, our brains are basically hardwired for survival. Our ancestors had to be hyper-aware of any threats just to stay alive. In our modern world, that shows up as a negativity bias, which just means our brains are naturally better at spotting what's wrong in our environment than what's right.
But here's the amazing part. We are not stuck with that default programming. We can actually work to counteract it. The big question is, how?
And the answer lies in one incredible word: neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't set in stone. It can physically change and reorganize itself. Every single time you intentionally focus on a small, positive moment, you are literally strengthening the neural pathways for joy and hope. You're making them easier and easier to access in the future.
Okay, so we get that we can retrain our brains. But why? Why are these tiny moments so incredibly powerful for doing that? What's the secret sauce here?
Well, it all comes down to something called the broaden and build theory from psychologist Barbara Fredrickson. The idea is that each little microjoy doesn't just make you feel good for a second, it actually broadens your perspective. In that moment, you become more creative, more open to new ideas, and better at solving problems. And over time, all these little moments build up your lasting resources, like stronger relationships and more resilience.
Oh, I absolutely love this metaphor. Thinking of them as mental reps at the gym is just perfect. Each time you stop to notice a small joy, the warmth of the sun, a kind word from a friend, a great song, you're doing one more rep. And it's that consistency, that small, repeated effort, that builds real, lasting mental strength.
All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's get practical. Let's get into the how. Let's build your very own microjoy toolkit starting right now.
It's a really simple 4-step framework. First up, choose. Just pick 3 to 5 small things that genuinely spark a little something in you. Then you attach them to habits you already have. Maybe you savor your coffee for 10 seconds right after you open your laptop. Then track them, not for perfection, just for awareness. And finally, the best part, just notice the small, subtle shifts in how you feel over time.
And hey, if you're thinking, where do I even start? Here are some super simple ideas to get you going.
You could try a one good thing scan. Just look around you right now and find one pleasant thing. Or send a connection pulse, a quick text to a friend just to say you're thinking of them. Seriously, each of these takes less than a minute.
And it's so important to remember this. This whole practice, it's not just about getting a quick mood boost. This is a long-term project. What you're really doing is fundamentally rewiring your brain for more hope and more resilience.
And, this practice naturally starts to extend to your own internal dialogue. It's not about forcing some kind of toxic positivity. Not at all. It's about a gentle reframe. It's shifting from a thought like, everything is falling apart, to something more like, okay, this is hard, but I've gotten through hard things before.
And this quote, this one really gets to the absolute heart of the matter. We don't have to wait until all our problems are perfectly solved to deserve joy. It's not a prize at the end. It's a resource that's available to us right now, today, in the middle of all the mess.
And maybe this is the biggest takeaway of all. Hope doesn't usually come roaring back into your life like some big, dramatic moment. More often than not, you find it whispering through the little cracks of ordinary, everyday life. The moments we train ourselves to finally notice. So I want to leave you with this one question to carry with you today. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be profound. Just what tiny spark of joy will you notice today? Because that's where the magic and the change really begins.